Hey guys, I just wanted to quickly hop in real quick. I am currently on campus at the moment, waiting to meet with a professor. However, I am here to share with you some very interesting news that's going on. Have y'all been noticing that there's a whole lot of recalls going on? Like, let me tell you, we have ground beef. That was the first one I've noticed. And then I found it weird that immediately after ground beef was recalled, frozen pizza was recalled. But no. Guess what? We have walnuts, cashews, and granola, and many others as well, being recalled by different brands. I cannot name all the brands off the top of my head. And then there's some creamy raw milk that's being recalled. So you know what? I just noticed that there was a theme as I was scrolling through the FDA's website. And the theme that I'm noticing is that proteins, grains, and sweets and desserts like yogurts, candy bars, desserts like fruity nut snacks and stuff like that is being like targeted. And I find that very interesting because I just recently learned that Bill Gates owns a very good percentage of our farmland. We're just going to leave that one alone. But here's what I have to say about astrology, because astrology says something about all of this. So let me break it down just real quick. So the birth of the United States. When we were born, we had Pluto in retrograde in Capricorn, which this year we're having our Pluto return. Actually, we kind of already did have our Pluto return at the very beginning of the year in February, actually. We made a video about that too if you guys want to go check that out. Something I also find very interesting is that Chiron was in Aries at the time of our birth of America, which is also important because we're having a Chiron return. But this one I find interesting, and you're going to hear about it later. Neptune was in the sign of Virgo. And why is Virgo very important? Well, Virgo is the harvesting sign. Literally, harvest grains. You know the little sickle that you used to cut down? Yes, the Virgin, it wasn't the Virgin Mary, but the virgins of temples, what they would do, carry a little grain, stuff like that, tend to things. And you have to tend and work at a farm and garden to produce, reap what you sow. If you plant good seeds, you're going to get some good seed. Maybe our food wasn't planted in a good soil. I'm just saying, it's 285 years later with our Pluto return. We're seeing that it's kind of time to change things up. So in 2020, though, however, you remember, there was the pandemic, right? That was when Pluto had just touched its little fingers, its little feet into Aquarius. And it had went back into retrograde into Capricorn. However, what is very important is that now Pluto is full-blown in Aquarius. And what does that mean? We talked about this too. Age of Aquarius. It's a new age. At least here we believe that is. So Pluto is going to be very important, and so is Saturn in Capricorn. And 2020 marked the year of the pandemic, and here we are 4 years post the pandemic, and we're revisiting these themes because 4 years later it's our Chiron return and our Pluto return, which is very important because the sign that controls food and how we eat is Venus, the love planet. But so much more than that. Venus is the planet that indulges us way more than Jupiter. Actually, Jupiter probably indulges us more than Venus. But with things that we love, it's also things that can destroy us. And things that we love give us pleasure. What could give us pleasure? Food. And this is very interesting. Venus conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer, this year during our Chiron return. Not when we had our Chiron return, like in February, or when we had the solar eclipse April 8th. No, right now Venus is conjuncting Chiron in Aquarius and our North Node. Now, our North Node is about evolving and going towards something. And actually, in 2020, let's take it back 4 more years when we had Pluto conjunct Saturn in Capricorn, which means that our societal ways were being changed. literally our country shut down. So that was something never happened before. It was something we had to deal with, and we're still dealing with the permanent ramifications of that till this day. But what's very important is during that time, it was actually conjuncting our south node. So that means we were dealing with some like past energy, you know. We were way too comfortable with the way we were living, and it was just like that. It's like, hey, wake up. Things need to change. You're not gonna work like this. That's what Pluto was saying to us by conjuncting Saturn in Capricorn, which is how we pride ourselves as a country. So next, we have the moon conjuncting this year, back to 2024. We have the moon conjuncting Neptune. But no, not the Neptune today. Neptune in our birth chart in 1776. Like if you impose today's chart on top of America's birth chart, Venus today is conjuncting old Neptune, which, what did I say, was something very important when we had our birth of America. Neptune was in Virgo. Neptune is still in Virgo. Yeah, I'm not sure when we're supposed to have our Neptune return, but the fact that the moon is conjuncting Neptune in Virgo, the sign of how we care for ourselves, the daily routine, how we keep maintenance, how we grow food, how we, I guess, desire food, because the moon takes it another extra level. The moon is what makes us comfortable, what makes us feel secure. We need food to live, right? That's one of our hierarchy of needs, and it's being tampered with at the moment, and we're having all these delusions, which is Neptune. All this confusion going on, like, oh my god, what's wrong for food? Oh my god, is it safe to eat? Like, what is going on, right? And I find that very interesting because I've been wondering, why are we having all these food recalls? And when I went to do a little research, there was a lot of food recalls in 2020. However, 2024 is like the king of that now. Now 2024 is like the year of recalls, not 2020. But what happened in 2020? We was in a pandemic. So here we are revisiting things from the pandemic, which of course we were, because Pluto had just touched his little feet into Aquarius. So now that we're full blown in Pluto and Aquarius, those themes that we just got to taste, we're being doused in, okay? And what I find very interesting is actually this. I wanted to know about, I'm sorry for all the noise out here, but I actually find it interesting that Venus, if you take a look at our natal chart for the United States of America, Saturn is in Libra. So our society was trying to balance something at the time and bring justice, which is why we had that American Revolution. We became our own country. But also at the same time, we were opposing our wounds and healing. So maybe by the way we were trying to balance ourselves, we were also preventing ourselves from healing properly, because we were the wounded healer, and these wounds is what made us act in a sense. So here we are again today with Venus conjuncting the North Node. So now it's time for us to move forward past those themes of 258 years ago when we first became a country. Jesus. And then next is the fact that Saturn is still, Venus is now basically opposing like the undercurrent energy of our country, which means the things that we used to love is challenging the country. The things that we used to do and pleasure ourselves is being challenged by the country. And by challenged by the country, I mean basically, as you see, it's shakeups. It's wild out here, honestly, with the food. I'm honestly getting a little concerned out here because it almost feels unsafe to like eat. And I know that's not what it's supposed to be, but it's supposed to bring, here we go, back to Chiron and Aquarius with the North Node. The Aquarius, not Aquarius, Aries. And Aries has to deal with the physical body, right? So therefore, our physical body needs to grow, enhance. We need to be more mindful, more self-conscious of the things that we do pleasure ourselves and maybe indulge in, and understand that those things that we truly love deeply, whether it's a person, whether it's food, whether it's a job, whether it's anything that you can like literally love and like put your energy into, can also be the death and destroy you at the same time. And we're seeing that with all the food recalls, all the little goody foods, you know, that they say are guilty pleasures. Our guilty pleasures now are literally having food recalls. Like, why is there unidentified objects or unidentified pathogens or chemicals in our food? The FDA is regulating this ish. How's the FDA letting this get by? Like, who is regulating this food? Like, why is this allowed to happen? So, and Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is back to putting and like byproducts in their food when they praise themselves on being religious and also of being a healthy place to get good chicken that's raised. Yeah, good chicken that's raised. No beef. You're not gonna find any beef at Chick-fil-A. And now Chick-fil-A is like, hey, we're putting stuff in our food before you guys get it. Why are you putting antibiotics in our food? Like, literally, why are you putting antibiotics in our food? Anyway, I don't think I'll be eating at Chick-fil-A anytime soon. So it's just a time to really be mindful. And that's just what I wanted to say. I feel like there's so much more I could say because this has been like simmering inside of me, and I just felt like I should just mention it to you guys because it's like every single day I'm waking up to an article about what is being recalled, what you shouldn't eat, what you should return. And I'm just sitting here like, this is what our life has become. This is another problem America has to deal with. Like, our lives aren't already a problem right now. Like, do you see the state of our country? And this is what we're having a problem with right now? Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Alright, with that, I guess I'll see you guys later. Alright, sunflowers!